Time for Dart Talk. Brought to you by thedartzone.com. Stay in the zone. Thedartzone.com is an official Cosmo distributor and Windy City Fabricators, America's premier fabricators of orthotics and prosthetics. And Redwood Darts, America's newest tungsten darts. Stand straight and tall and hit them all. Redwood Darts. And now, here are your hosts, Mystery Mark and Steve P.
Okay, welcome to Dart Talk.
Welcome again.
Do I see bars?
I think I see bars.
Dart Talk brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Our homage to Groundhog Day is to do the opening credits twice. We had to update the some of the software that we use for the show, and apparently it tried to break it.
All the settings did not
so I'm not sure. It looks to me like the new update's a little glitchy, so hopefully we can get through the show and you guys will be able to actually hear us. In the chat, if there's any issues with the audio or video quality, let us know because we can't obviously see it from here. Anyway, a lot to get to.
Yes.
We tried to get Jeff Smith on. Scheduling difficulties. We're going to effort him continually until he relents and comes on the show.
Apparently he had league darts or something.
Yeah, something like that. So he's scheduling conflict. All the traveling he's been doing, I'm not surprised. I would think it would take him a little while to kind of fit us in.
Decompress.
Well, that too. We do have a lot to get to as far as darts over the pond. The Unibet Masters. We got a few things to say about that.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, for a guy like me to criticize Phil Taylor, you'd think I have no standing. I have no legal standing to criticize, but that won't stop me. And then also we can preview in the second half of the show. We'll preview the Premier League, which starts tomorrow night. I like covering the Premier League. That's always a great show. As far as dart, good quality matches every Thursday night. I definitely, can see why that's a big hit. I don't know why they don't show it here, but maybe someday. Did you play last night?
No, we had a bye.
That league. I talked to like some of the bar owners, and they're always like, "Well, then they have these buys," and it's like, well, it's what happens when you don't have enough teams.
Working Monday nights. The Monday night league hasn't been there for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean it's
weird.
It's just there's no
They'll be there 3 weeks in a row now, or 2 because you never play 3 home matches in a row, but. Somehow they had a road match, a bye, and a road match one way or the other. So
have you even picked up a dart since the last show?
Well, I practiced last night at work, or Monday night at work.
Monday night? How'd it go?
So it went all right, actually. It was better than the week before, and I was actually confident with I started out, and I always throw my first 3 darts at bulls just to see, where you're at, and I hit 4.
Nice.
So I was like, all right, so then I threw the next 3, and I missed them completely. So I just said, all right. So I threw 3 darts at every number around the world.
3 darts at like the fat
1,
fat 2,
all
fat
the way
3.
around.
So you threw 63 darts.
Unless I either missed completely or missed 2 out of 3, I went back at it.
Okay.
And I literally, I hit almost 3 of everything. There's probably 3 out of the 20 numbers that I had to throw at again. So I was feeling pretty good,
As far as hitting 2 out of 3 in the fat?
No, I was hitting majority of 3. But a couple of them I hit 2. And then, I would say 5 of them, 3 out of 5 of them, or 5, to 5 I missed.
All right,
at least 2.
Well, it sounds pretty good.
Then I went back and I hit at least 2, but most of the time I hit 3. So I was doing pretty well, and it was better. It was a lot better. So it gave me confidence, and then I had no competition to play it yesterday. So I have no idea if it helped.
Oh, okay. I see. Because you didn't have league last night.
Right.
So after
then,
you hit 3 of every fat, what did you do? Wrap it up?
Well, no, I had a little time. I threw a dart at each double.
Okay.
Just to throw at each double, but I didn't care whether I hit it. I was just throwing. I didn't have that much time, so I just threw at each double, and then I just threw some 301.
Like it
without
kept in
double
your
in.
head and
without double in. Just,
okay.
Just a single, just 301 starting at the 20s, and then just to make sure that I would double out.
Okay.
And I can't hit a double 10 to save my life.
Really?
I used to be good at it. I can't hit it now.
I think it's a follow-through issue.
But it was all right. I mean, I did okay. And I hit it. I mean, there was a few times I obviously went all the way to double one, which is frustrating. But there's a few times I took out 40 and 32 and would hit a triple 14 when I needed, on 74 or something like that. And so it was better.
I do that with only instead of 301, I start at 261.
Okay.
So, and I try to be out in 9 darts.
Yeah, well, I have.
You get a point.
Right.
You get a point. The way I do it is you get a point if you're out in 9 or less.
Mm-hmm.
You lose a point if you don't get out in 9 or less, and then you get 2 points if you're out in 6 or less.
Do you if you're not out 9 or less, if you're all of a sudden at 12 darts, you just stop, or do you just make sure you finish?
You go finish, but
right.
I mean, like I missed the 167 out.
Mm-hmm.
For my 9 darter, and then I was like, the bullseye was so close, I thought it was in, and then when I looked, I was so disappointed it was out. I was like, oh man, so I stopped after that. But I changed my darts in November,
okay.
and I am now to the point where these darts are feeling very, very natural compared to it's a little bit of a different barrel length, it's a little bit of a different barrel diameter, it's a different grip, and the points are longer. So it was kind of it's taken me a while to kind of get the hang of throwing them, but I really like the way they're flying in. And now that I have longer points, it's a little harder for me to tell if they're in, but there's lots of room.
See, I was wondering if I should go to shorter shafts because I need a little more speed.
Well, shorter shafts can cost you accuracy. I mean, the longer shafts tend to straighten out your dart. So if you want more speed through the air, you want to maybe think about getting smaller flights. You're still using the flights, or if you're using the flights I gave you.
Which I am.
Okay. Those are full-size, heavy flights that you were not using before.
Right.
Right. I use, they're called rockets. And they're modified big flights insofar as the fins are not quite as wide, and then the angle from the top to the edge of the fin is sharper. So it's kind of a in between a speed flight and a full size flight.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's not like I never liked the pear-shaped ones.
But I was throwing so poorly, I was starting to think of different ways to change. But then when I practiced Monday, it was like, well, I actually got to the point where I could feel if my arm was right and I followed through that it didn't matter, that the darts went where I want.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, so maybe I'm fine with these darts. Just have to, practice like we keep saying, and slowly getting to a consistent spot where I can feel when I, didn't follow, not necessarily follow through the board or let your arm went that way or that way instead of straight at the board. And then you throw the next one and you went, yeah, that's what I want, and that's where it went. And then you throw a dart, you went, well, no, that wasn't it. You could totally feel it. And then you throw the next one, and you're like, that's what I wanted to do. And, whether it hit the trip 20 or wired or close or something like that, it was better. So then, now I'm back to maybe I don't need to change my darts. I'm just I need to get more consistent with me.
Well, yeah, I mean, equipment changes are like a big deal.
Yeah.
But the problem is if you don't play consistently, and by consistently I mean if you don't play regularly,
right, then
equipment changes can really mess you up because you're gonna get unexpected results and not know what to attribute them to. Is it the new equipment? Did I screw this part up? Am I blah 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 blah. So it's really bad especially for like league players who only play once a week to change their equipment in like the middle of the season.
Right.
And a lot of people, because it changes your feel, you might have a good night and then think, oh, well, this was perfect. And then, next thing you don't know where they're going and stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen. Right. So I would probably advise against that.
Right.
Shortening your shafts is generally a bad idea, especially for you, because you've been using the same shaft length for forever. So
I used
that's
to use shorter
pretty,
shafts, but then you gave me the L style. What are they? L style?
No, they're Cosmos.
Or Cosmos?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gave me the Cosmos shafts, which are a little longer than I was using.
I'm out of the short ones.
Yeah.
I was monkeying around, and I was thinking of going to a shorter shaft, and I'm out. So get used to those. You've got those are just normal, like, medium length shafts.
Exactly. Right.
Going to like short shafts, I don't really see much advantage to that, and I'd have to look. The way I would determine it is I look at the darts when they're in the air, and I look to see how they're flying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's especially for myself. I mean, I pretty much know my darts are flying well when I see them in the air and they're straight. And I mean, they're straight from the time I let go of them to the time they hit the board. There's not a lot of yaw. There's not a lot of this.
Right.
Where's Cam?
Or
not
this.
a lot of this or this or any of that. They just spiral in there. The other thing, it's kind of weird. I mean, most people, if something feels good and it doesn't go in, they're confused. And I used to tell Jill, it's like, well, it doesn't mean you did anything right. What happened was you had a clean release. And when you have a clean release, it feels like a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that you're aligned properly for what you're aiming at.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
You can tell sometimes that your arm did not go through the motion correctly. Right?
I would agree with that.
I can tell sometimes, like on the backswing, that I brought the dart to the wrong spot.
Exactly. Sure.
And generally, you can't really save that, but you can try.
Sometimes you can, but
you're
not going to consistently do it.
The only way I've found to really save that is add arm speed.
Right.
Arm speed seems to fix almost everything. I remember watching Colin Lloyd. We were talking about him because he's off the circuit now. And I watched him play in, I think it was in Connecticut, and he was falling behind a player that he felt like he should win, and he got so aggravated. He threw the hardest 1080 I've ever seen in my life. He threw one that must have been like a Roldis Chapman quality. Like he
the barrel went through the dartboard.
It looked like he could have hit. It would have hit a trip 20 like 20 feet away. That's how hard he threw it. And because he was mad,
right.
So you get mad, and throwing your darts on the floor doesn't work. But if you're mad, just try to throw it through. Try to throw it through the target, and you'll get better results, I think.
Right.
Where are we on time?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Well, we got a minute or so.
We got a minute or so. We'll try to get Jeff on next week. He'd be a good guy to talk to about this. I'm curious how he prepared for Lakeside as opposed to what he did the year before. And because he's now kind of locked in where it's the second year in a row, he knows he's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm wondering if that added pressure, I would think it reduced a lot of pressure. I think a lot of the we'll call them floor players, you're constantly worried about qualifying. Once you're qualified, I would think that's a load off your mind, and you could just worry about your game as opposed to all the little landmines you have to avoid when you're trying to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be curious to get his take on that, and I had a few other questions for him. So we'll try to get Jeff on the show next week. All right, we'll take a break. And in the chat room, let us know how we're doing, quality-wise in the show during the break if you can.
They haven't said anything yet, so
they're
apparently they can hear us.
Like all two people. I don't know how many people are even in the chat room. So we'll be back in a minute. You're listening to Dark Talk with Mystery Mark and Steve P. We'll be right back.
rants, and rampages expressed on Dart Talk do not necessarily reflect individually or collectively those of our sponsors, co-sponsors, wannabe hosts, hearing-impaired critics, or those with a penchant for attitudinal dysfunction. We at Dart Talk strive to provide you, the listener, with an educational, entertaining, and fun-filled experience each and every week. If after the show you, the listener, find yourself feeling uneducated, unentertained, and or bored, we at Dart Talk consider that your own problem. The views and opinions expressed on Dart Talk are those of the hosts. They in no way should be misrepresented, misinterpreted, or made to claim that the universe is against you, your family, your city, or the darting community at large.
Okay, back for the second quarter at Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor. Again, if you're having any sort of issues, just put them in the chat room, and we'll see. It's hard for us to tell what's going on here, but it's not looking good. Okay, Unibet Masters, right?
Correct.
Somebody was in the chat room asking. We didn't preview it. What was it? Only 16 players?
Yeah.
And after the World Championships, a field that small, I just sort of am like, it strikes me as more of a exhibition type of tournament than anything else because the field's so small. But you do have, the 16 best players in the world. What did we get for results before we talk about the one match I want to talk about?
You want the results?
Yeah, it's only 16. Well, there's only 16 guys, so it's like quarterfinals and up, right?
The first round, Hybrix beat Lewis 10-4.
Yeah, that's kind of a big upset.
Phil Taylor beat Yelly Clausen 10-6. Vincent Vandervoort beat Gary Anderson 10-7. And Van Gerwen took care of Stephen Bunting 10-1.
10-1.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if I was Gary Anderson, I'd have a hard time getting up for that tournament. After you just win the World Championship, now you got to go out and play again. And it's like, seriously? I mean, I don't know. I don't know that there is any off-season anymore. But, how can you, though? I mean, it's like if you just played the Super Bowl, it's like going from the Super Bowl and then going to play the Pro Bowl.
Right.
I mean, not that you have to do it anymore. Right. But they used to, and it was sort of like, seriously? Like, I get you want to go to Hawaii and lay on the beach, but you really want to, like, drop back and throw passes? Seriously?
No.
Yeah.
So then in your quarterfinal matches, James Wade takes care of Kim Hybrix 10-5. Chisnell beats Vincent Vandervoort 10-4. Peter Taylor gets by Peter Wright 10-9. And
Phil Taylor?
I'm sorry, yes.
Beat
Phil
Peter
Taylor,
Wright 10-9.
10-9. And then Van Gerwen took care of Michael Smith 10-3. And then in your semifinal matches, Chizzy beat Wade 11-6, and Van Gerwen beat Taylor 11-10, which is the match we wanted to talk about.
And to be honest with you, this has been an issue with Phil for years, where when he gets down below 170. He does some questionable things. Mm-hmm. Now he was up 10-9, so he's got to break Van Gerwen to win, but then he's got the throw on the deciding leg, so he's in pretty good shape at 10-9. And what does he do? He leaves himself on 128.
Yes.
Now there's a lot of numbers that I would not want to be on, but at the top of my list in that kind of range, I don't want to be on 128 because, if you're on 128, you have to make a decision. Are you going to go 18s or are you going to go 20s? Now, Van Gerwen was on a pretty high finish. Mm-hmm. Was he on like 167?
167, I believe.
You can, and I don't know, like they had this thing where people were arguing about this in Bullseye News, which is like, talk about steel tip esoterica. The idea... The argument that you can make going for the 20s is that if you hit the triple 20 on your first dart, you don't have to hit another triple to get to a finish.
Okay, true.
If you hit a single 18, then trip 20 leaves you the bull, right?
Right, which is the same as
If you if you hit the triple 18, you still have to hit another triple.
Mhm.
Right? In the case of this match, Taylor hit the triple 18 to leave 74, hit the triple 14 to leave 32, and whiffed.
right
And then continued to whiff.
6 more times.
Yeah, but the quality of his, so he misses the 128, leaves 32. Van Gerwen knocks down the 137 to leave 110.
167.
Right?
Yeah.
167. Yeah, he throws a what difference does it make? 57 to leave 110.
Right.
Taylor throws it dead center inside wire on the 8 and then misses the 4 by, I don't know, an inch.
At least.
It was pretty close to the 13.
Right.
Which in retrospect he might have been better off hitting the 13. But it was a terrible, terrible shot.
Right.
And then he missed low on the double 2 to leave himself 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now Van Gerwen's got a whack at 110. He goes up and hits trip 20, fat 18, and
misses the 32.
Yeah, it was about a barrel outside. Looked like,
right?
Maybe, so it was, he tried to stick it, and he missed outside. And Taylor's got 3 darts at double 2 to win.
But Van Gerwen's look after when he just threw the 57 at 167, it was like he didn't care. It was
because the match is over. Because he expects Phil, who had been averaging about 50% on his doubles up to that point, he expects Phil's going to take it out, and he's lost.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
But then after he gave him the opportunity, he got new life, and he almost took out the 110.
Well,
and he was a little more upset that he missed the double 16, and then next thing you know.
Yeah, I mean, he had a chance to come back, and then Phil Taylor, and we were watching it together before the show, and I'm like he'll miss low on his first start. That's what Phil does.
Right.
But he missed it way low. He missed it like 2 barrels low. Put the second one on the bottom wire, and then let go of it a little early, trying to steer it on top of that one, and parked it in the fat 2,
mm-hmm.
and then that's it.
Right.
Van Gerwen 1 dart takes out the double 16, and now they go to a deciding leg where Taylor has the throw. And then what does Taylor do? He leaves himself on 122,
mm-hmm.
which is like now you gotta throw a triple 18 to give yourself a whack at anything. Well, you've been throwing at the 20 and the 19 for an entire game, and now you're going to go avoid that because your cover shots are dumb.
Right.
You throw a 139 to leave 128. Why don't you throw a 137 to leave 130? See, that's the kind of thing that I do. Like, I calculate on my cover shots. I want something easy. 110 and 130 are way easier than 122 and 128. 124 is way easier than 122. Why on earth would you want 122?
Well, because you can stay at the 18s all day.
Who wants the 18s?
I don't know.
Why do you go out of your way to set up a shot that isn't that good to begin with? What good's the 122? What are you going to do? Throw like you with 122? Invariably, you're going to end up with a bad leave. What if you go triple?
Mm-hmm.
Then what do you have?
You
have 14.
You're
14, on
double
seven.
seven.
Who wants double 7?
Right.
Why are you going out of your way to set up difficult shots? Just take the easy one. Right? Leave yourself a shot at the triple 20 if you can.
Is it possible that you're worried that you're I would
does it all the time.
I would think if you could hit the trip 19, you could hit the trip 17.
He's been doing no. He's been doing this for years now, where he leaves himself on 163 or 162, or he leaves himself on some bogey because he's not really calculating his outshots. And I wish somebody would ask him, why on earth do you keep doing this? And hear what Taylor's reaction would be. Whether it's like, well, look, the way I'm playing, I can't take out a 167. So what difference does it make? I can't imagine him saying that.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I got distracted and I miscounted and had a senior moment. Well, then you've had like enough senior moments in the last 5 years that you probably have CTE. Did you see Kenny Stabler got diagnosed with that stage 3 CTE when they did the autopsy? That was so sad.
Really?
A quarterback. Yeah, in the league a long time, and he got hit a lot toward the end of his career.
Right.
But, I'm telling you, man, it's like this concussion thing is just going to get worse.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand already.
No, they're talking about like the percentage of players that have it is tremendously high.
Right. Charles Johnson just retired.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I thought he was kind of waffling on that.
Yeah, they said the other day that he said he was going to retire.
I mean, is it worth taking 30 years off your life to play another year?
No.
In the NFL? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I used to love watching pro football, and now it's just become something that's no good. The quality of play isn't that good either. They're not allowed to practice so much, and now everybody's diving at feet and stuff and, making all these career decisions, and it's like, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, Eli Manning was talking about the Pro Bowl, and why are we talking about football?
I don't know. I don't know how you got onto this tangent.
I don't know. So, anyway, as far as Taylor goes, I mean, I'm starting to wonder if really mentally he's making this game way more harder on himself than it need be. I guess is kind of what I took away from that gifting that match to Van Gerwen. And look, I mean, everybody misses. Everybody's had problem at one time or another, closing out a match, missing doubles. I mean, it happens to everybody. And, not that Phil Taylor's any exception. But if you look at his finishing over the last 2.5 years since he started monkeying around with his darts again.
It's been awful.
His finishing's been terrible. Just terrible. Like
22% and like
oh, yeah.
18%.
And there's really no reason for that. Except, mentally, it's like how long – I mean, I can see you're in a slump. You could say, okay, I'm in a slump hitting doubles. But when it's been 1.5 years, it's not a slump anymore.
Well,
right? It's
now
an
it's
issue.
in your head.
Well, yeah. Now it's an issue. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if he can address it. Maybe he's been spending so much time working on his scoring to keep up with Anderson and Van Gerwen and, Chizzy and some of these other guys that he's neglected working on his finishing. Because I find it astounding that he missed that 4 so badly.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be mental. When you're as precise as he is, and you miss a dart by that much, then you've got a serious issue somewhere.
Yeah, the double 4.
Yeah, the double 4. I mean, the double 8. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
inside wire. Okay, dead center. All right.
Yeah, he misses the double 16 for the.
But the double 4 is an
right.
easy shot, and I'm looking at it thinking, well, if you're going to miss that, you're going to miss it a little outside. You don't dump it in the bottom right-hand corner,
double 2, right?
2 barrels from the double, and almost hit a 13. I mean, what is that? That's terrible. So I don't know if that's gag reflex or it's slipping. I don't know, but he never used to do that with his old darts.
Right. And then after the gift, Van Gerwen takes care of Chizzy 11-6.
Yeah, and kind of an anticlimactic win for Van Gerwen. I mean, Taylor leaving himself on 122, I just don't see it. I don't understand why you wouldn't throw a different cover shot and leave yourself on 124 and make it easier on yourself. Right, 122 just doesn't set up well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can even if you hit the first triple. What are you on? You're on 68.
Yeah,
you're out of options. Right, there's only one way to do it. You got to throw another triple 18, or you throw a fat one and you're setting up the bull. I mean,
you could
I just
go
don't.
Trip 20, but then you don't have an out.
Yeah, well, that's why you don't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't know. It make any sense to me. And that's why you see a lot of the Dutch guys, throw that bullseye at the end. And Taylor doesn't do that either. I mean, your odds of taking out 89 are way higher than your odds of taking out 94. Your odds of taking out 79 are way bigger than your odds of taking out 84. Right?
Yeah.
And so that little extra 5 points you get if you go for the bull and hit a single instead of a fat 20 can enormously raise your odds of winning a leg. And then he doesn't do it. And I'm like, well, okay. I know you make fun of the Dutch because they do kind of weird, wild stuff. But, I mean, the math of the game is inescapable. And the odds are the odds. You can't beat the house.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
who cares about odds? I can take it out this way because I'm so-and-so. That's just your ego making it hard on yourself to win.
Right.
So you got away with it for years. Well, okay, the margin of error that you had then doesn't exist anymore.
Not anymore.
Now everybody's close, and it's a dogfight, and
you need that extra dart.
You want to give Michael Van Gerwen an extra 3 darts to beat you? Are you nuts? What is he, ignorant? Okay, we'll take a break. I don't know where we are in time.
We're ready.
We'll take a break. We'll come back, and we will premiere the first week of the 2016 Premier League. Listen to Dart Talk with Mystery Mark Steve P. We'll be right back.
The Geneva Convention in treating fairly its prisoners in their war against lackluster darting administration and behaviour.
Hey, back for the second half of Dart Talk, brought to you by the Dart Zone.
Stay in the zone.
TheDartZone.com will be the Dart Zone. TheDartZone.com is an official Cosmo distributor.
Got Dom?
Oh my! Well, because it messed up our slide.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to fix it, and it won't be fixed. And I don't know.
Let's move on.
That's why you never update anything. Why, if it works, don't break it. Or
right.
What is this saying? Why fix it if it works? Or,
if it's broke, don't fix it. If it's not broke,
if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
But we're starting to get all these issues. So the latest and greatest needs a bug fix. Premier League,
yes,
much fun.
Starts tomorrow.
Starts tomorrow. It is a race to 8 with the possibility of a tie, or is it 7? What are they doing this year? Do we know? Ask the chat room. They'll know. Are they playing up to 8 or 7 this year? I think maybe it's 7 because they got all these matches. What's the first matchup?
Do you want the matchups or you want the odds first? We got odds.
Wow, you got odds already?
Okay.
Well, no, I'll tell you. Let's do this. Tell me the match,
all right,
and I'll tell you who's favored, and then you can tell me if I'm wrong.
Peter Wright against Michael Smith.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad that Michael Smith is on this thing. He's young enough where being on that stage might pump him up as opposed to intimidate him. And, Wright was weird last year. Wright just suddenly was just off, and he would just stay off and never really seemed to be into it. I would say that Peter Wright's a small favorite, though.
Yeah, I don't have it favorites for the match itself. I just have favorites to win.
Like the entire Premier League?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's just go by seeding, pretty sure.
Pretty much. But yeah,
Van Gerwen and Anderson will be the co-favorites
Gerwin a little heavier favorite.
A little heavier.
5-4 against 7-2.
Okay.
Your next match is Van Gerwen against James Wade.
Van Gerwen against James Wade. I see nothing when I watch James Wade play. I mean, I see no gravitas. I see no desperation. I see almost like he's disinterested. And he doesn't seem to really fight if his darts just aren't going in automatically. If they're going in automatically, then he's like, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. And if they're not going in, he's like, la-di-da-di-da. I don't see much fight in that guy anymore. And I don't know what to attribute that to, but it's almost like, oh, well, I'll beat this guy, and, well, I'll throw, but maybe I won't. I mean, it's just a very weird kind of nonchalance that he's had in his game for the last, 18 months that I've noticed it. So I never look at him with much confidence as far as like somebody who's going to win an event. Mm-hmm. Like when he's playing somebody that he's like a 32 seed or a 37 seed or a 43 seed, he seems to just go about his business and with more confidence, and he tends to win. But whenever he comes up against resistance, I just don't see any fire in his game. That's the thing that I see with Wade these days.
Is he trying to stay even keeled and not get into the moment? And
I don't know.
And just
it's kind of weird. It's just kind of weird. I don't have a real good read on him, and maybe he's just happy to be there.
Right.
That's kind of what he looks like to me. Like he's just happy to be there. So I don't count on him winning a tough match against Van Gerwen, especially. I think Van Gerwen will blow his doors off.
Well, that would make sense.
Yeah.
The way he's playing.
Yeah.
Taylor against Van Barneveld.
I just think Phil's got Raymond's number. And if Phil is still being flummoxed by the outer ring, then, Raymond will probably beat him. But
yeah.
If Phil just plays average Phil, I think he beats him. I think he beats Raymond. And only because Raymond doesn't seem to be able to raise his game when he plays Phil anymore.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, if Phil gives it to him, fine. But I don't know. These are like, old trail horses that are just like, here we go again. Let's go around one more time kind of thing.
Gary Anderson against Adrian Lewis.
Yeah, that's the one match that I'm going to look forward to watching because I like the match that they both get after it. They don't really mess around, and it's a nice quick game with a lot of high scoring and maybe some high finishing, and just that's a fun one to watch. And I would say you have to take Anderson until he proves that he's kind of mailing it in. You know what I mean? First week, I don't see him mailing it in.
Then you have last match is Robert Thornton against Dave Chisnell.
Yeah, Robert Thornton in there. This may be the last time you see Robert Thornton in the Premier League if he does not have a real good season. I think, Chizzy's going to be kind of a staple, with the way he scores and everything, and how he did, last year and everything. Chizzy ain't going anywhere anytime soon. I think Thornton's on the bubble, on that, precipice where if you fall, you can't get up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If Robert Thornton drops out of the top 16, I don't see him getting back in it. So this will be interesting to see how dedicated he is to his own game these days. So whether or not he beats Chizzy, Chizzy's probably going to be favored.
He is the longest odds on the board to win the whole thing, Thornton is. But actually, I just scrolled down, and I do have the match odds. Odds.
All right.
So you were close. Peter Wright is a slight favorite over Mark Smith.
That makes sense.
They're all 7-2 draws except for Van Gerwen. It's 11-2 on a draw.
Yeah. Oh, on a draw?
On a draw.
Yeah, see, we did the picking, and we kept track of it last year
right.
and all that.
And we would pick draws. And
so you heard my picks, right? Or did I officially pick them? I mean, I kind of told you I thought would win, but all right. So who do you like then?
I'll take Michael Smith just for fun
against Peter Wright.
You have to take Van Gerwen. I will take
Is it Phil and Raymond?
Phil Taylor. I was debating on taking a draw there. I'll take Phil Taylor.
Okay.
Obviously Dave Chisnell over Thornton, and I will also take. I'm basically chalk. I'll take Gary Anderson over Adrian Lewis.
So we're only going to differ on the Bully Boy match.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll be interesting. Maybe that'll be the draw. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I like the lineup better this year.
Last year there were a lot more draws than we anticipated.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you look at the level of play they had last year, like Bunting was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Bunting didn't play good last year. Wes Newton was horrible. I mean, so you had like a lot of deadwood kind of early where it just became like, well, let's get this match out of the way so we can get to the real darts. I think the field's a little deeper now. I think the only guy that's in there that I'm questioning, given his recent form, is Thornton.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, well, I don't know who would take his place. I mean, who would you have?
Well, you're kind of questioning Wade as well,
but see, Wade's maintained his top 8 position all this time. I mean, Whitlock's kind of gone. Right? When was the last time you heard Whitlock? He won a floor tournament last year, but I mean, he's not really done much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who else would you have in there that you would really want to see? You want to see Jelly Klaassen, another Dutch guy? You want to see Van de Voort? I don't think Van de Voort could hold up. I mean, Klaassen had a nice run in the World Championships. I mean, I don't know what kind of form he's in, but I would think he'd be. I don't know how popular he'd be. Maybe he wouldn't be. I mean, he's had off the field issues, so to speak. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think. It should
be entertaining anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean, Kim Huybrechts, okay.
No, he's been playing well.
Yeah, he's been playing well. He's not winning, but he's up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's hard to make top 8 every week. It's hard to make top 16 every week. I mean, we make it sound like if you don't win, you stink, and we don't mean it that way because it's hard. Well, you got the best players in the world, and you're in the mix every single week. That's huge.
Yeah.
That consistency is where a lot of guys fall off. So, I don't know. Should be fun. Where are we on time?
Yeah, we're close. We're a little early if you have something else to say.
Well, I want to apologize for the show being messed up early as far as like the new software we're using not working so well, and we may have other issues with this. And then there's some other changes, so we apologize for that. If you guys are downloading the podcast, if there's some sort of quality issue, email darttalk@gmail.com. Tell us what it is. Next week we're going to try to get Jeff Smith on the show. We will effort that. We say that every week. I mean,
I know
at some point it's going to be like
record.
Jeff Smith and me instead of Roger and me, and chase the guy down. I am not going to like New Brunswick to go get this guy.
Either that, or eventually we're just going to say, well, there's no chance of getting Michael Smith on. Or Jeff Smith.
Jeff Smith. Let's get Michael Smith.
Let's get Michael Smith on.
You got anything? You going to play darts next week? Oh, hey, Super Bowl pick.
Well, we got another 15 minutes, pal.
It's 9:30.
Yeah, we were 15 minutes late.
Well, I figured it would just be a 45-minute show. Well, you got to work tomorrow.
Well, of course. Well, that's fine. If you want to end it, we could do some Super Bowl picks. I'm on the fence on this one.
You're on the fence.
I was so confident the last couple weeks, and I was right. And now I'm on the fence, and I'm what'd you call them? The
Mid-Atlantic Forest Cats against the Mile High Horses.
Now it's not the equines anymore.
I was told that it was supposed to be horses.
Okay.
I think equines has a nicer ring.
I do too.
Yeah. Yeah, the Mile High Equines.
I'm on the fence. I'm going to go with the Forest Cats to win the Super Bowl. From a spread aspect, I think I'm gonna go against the public, who are betting the Forest Cats up and up and up. And I think Denver's defense. I think the horses can hang.
Yeah, the injuries with their safeties was. I was watching the championship game with Jill, love of my life. That Gronkowski touchdown in the last minute or whatever. Jill's like, what is the guy doing that went behind him when he's in the back of the end zone? I'm like, he's a backup. And she's like, well, what do you do that for? And I'm like, okay, this is not somebody who, played a lot of football growing up, right?
Right.
And if it's obvious to a casual fan then it's a pretty egregious mistake.
I'm
You're
sure
not going to
they
be able
showed
to do
the
that.
Film room said,
Yeah.
"What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you
Well,
doing?"
You're not going to be able to do that against Carolina.
No.
I think it's going to come down to which team can actually run the ball, and I'm not sure either of them can.
I don't think either of them can.
And if no one can run the ball, if you make Denver throw and you're going to try to make Peyton beat you, I don't know if he can anymore.
I don't know if he
mean,
can.
I'll root for him.
How much? I mean, are they going to need Von Miller to rush the passer where you can have Kuechly
You
and the
can't.
linebackers and only if Carolina can only rush 4 and get to Peyton and have Kuechly, who's fantastic, and those linebackers step back, Denver's going to have a tough time passing the ball.
If Carolina can get to Manning with a 4-man rush,
Yeah. They're
Denver's in huge trouble. Huge trouble.
Which is what Seattle did to him 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that they're, Jared Allen, I think, is going to be out. I don't know that their pass rush is all that great with a 4-man.
Yeah, they've been doing it for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they have.
In the playoffs. I mean, they haven't needed much help.
Well, when you have a 21-point lead, it's easy to rush the passer.
Yeah.
When you're worried about play action and all this other stuff.
They got that 21-point lead with the pass rush early in both games. So
Well, they have started out really
fast
in both those games. Kickoff return touchdown to start the game, stuff like that. And then Carson Palmer had a terrible game, and I think he, had was playing with a broken right index finger.
Right.
I don't know how you can throw a football without your right index finger, to be honest with you. And he threw some really bad passes. The thing about the X factor is really, Denver's 4-man rush got to Brady really, really easily.
Yeah.
And Brady goes down easy. Brady's soft when it comes to taking a sack. Cam Newton is not. Cam Newton's like Roethlisberger.
True.
It's like he can throw with guys hanging all over him and complete passes. So
could come down to, as always, turnovers, but
he's been he hasn't really turned the ball over. I mean, I'm not wild about Carolina's skill guys.
But he hasn't got hit a lot.
Well, that's true. And he can take a hit. But you remember, Brady took off and ran for 11 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be open for the whole game. If Carolina is facing a 4-man rush and sending guys second and third level pass on the route tree, and he decides to take off, unless Von Miller's spying on him, I mean, he's going to run he'll run for 190 yards.
Right.
And the secondary guys, with the exception maybe of Aqib Talib, aren't big enough to tackle him.
No.
So
not many defensive linemen are big enough to tackle him.
No, the guy's huge.
250 at
but,
least.
If they bang at him early and he hurts his knee or he hurts his ankle, something like that, then I think Denver wins. But I could see why Carolina's favored.
So your pick is?
See, I'm going to do like Bill Polian. He gave you 10 reasons to take Carolina, and then he's like, yeah, but I like Peyton.
Okay.
See, I just because his dad was my favorite player.
Right.
And I would like to see, it'd be a great story if he could go out on top.
Sure. I agree.
Given all his struggles in the postseason and everything, I will be rooting for Denver.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't put a dime on him. Well, I don't know. If I got 6, I might.
It might get up to 6.
If it got up to 6, I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, maybe they can keep it close.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't like their running backs. I'm not wild about their receivers aside from Demaryius Thomas, and Josh Newman can shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
So then where are you? You're going to play 10-on-10 without Demaryius Thomas, and you're going to have Peyton throwing underneath these guys like Emmanuel Sanders and stuff like that. He's going to get picked.
Mm-hmm.
Kuechly is quick.
Yeah.
And
smart.
And smart.
And good.
And Peyton is Peyton is smart, but they've had 2 weeks to figure out how to stop these guys. And I've seen it happen before where, Peyton knows where he wants to put the ball, but they know too, and they're going to get there. And the ball takes a long time to get there now with Peyton. And I think that's the one thing.
It doesn't get there as fast as it used to.
Yeah,
right.
It really doesn't.
No.
I think that New England on the plane home, all the defenders were looking at each other like, how did we not have 5 picks?
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that. Sure.
And Carolina, their secondary's better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that their front four is better, but their secondary's better than New England's. So New England's...
Well, and I think their linebackers are better.
Yeah, than New England's?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Carolina had like one of the easiest schedules I've ever seen.
That was a knock on them all year, and then they just kept winning and winning and winning.
Or weak division.
Right.
And they took care of Seattle. What was it, 31-0?
Yeah.
They were up on Seattle,
And
but
they
also
just coasted.
Well, they had home field and an extra week off. I mean, okay. So did Denver. I think Denver beating New England was a bigger accomplishment than beating Seattle, but Seattle's good.
Well, I think Denver beating New England was a bigger accomplishment than Carolina beating Arizona. Arizona was out,
yeah, that's what I meant.
Without their safety, Matthew, and possibly broken finger on Carson Palmer.
Yeah,
it's
and
not as big as beating.
They generated
Brady
zero. They generated zero pass rush, and they're sitting back there in the zone getting shredded.
Right.
And Cam Newton's taking this big wind up and whipping the ball downfield. Is like, well, you really. The pocket was so big and so clean for him. I was like, there's no way on earth that you can win this game if this is going to be your deal.
I think it might come down to the fact of whether Ted Ginn catches the wide open fly pattern or drops it.
He's been catching them.
But he was dropping them at the beginning of the year, and then all of a sudden now he's been catching them.
I don't know. I think it's not going to come down to Demaryius Thomas or Ted Ginn. I think it's going to come down to Greg Olsen. Making plays and not coughing the ball up when he gets hammered, and it's going to come down to like maybe Emmanuel Sanders,
right.
Like the second and third receivers are going to be.
Or even Owen Daniels who had a good game against New England. So
yeah, I think Owen Daniels, I think they can cover him. Like who's the guy with the broken arm that I like? Thomas Davis.
Yeah,
he can cover Owen Daniels. Right. Owen Daniels an easier cover than Greg Olsen is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
So I'm. Not that this is a football show, but I can't see Carolina losing. They've got an ex-Bear as a head coach. I like that. I like that he'll be the fourth player or the fourth person to win a Super Bowl ring as a player and as a head coach.
Yeah,
as a head coach. And then two of those guys would be Bears.
Right.
I like that.
Ditka and him. Yeah,
Ditka and him, and then Tony Dungy and Tom Flores. We actually looked it up.
And Rivera would have lost 2 games. 18-1 in both seasons.
18-1. Yeah. Unbelievable.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. People are talking about is Carolina going to be a dynasty and all this, and I'm like,
I don't see that.
They may not even be back next year. I mean, that's
right.
You never know.
Which is actually why, and I like Cam Newton, so it's actually one of the reasons why. Peyton Manning's 1-1. He's been there 4 times. That's why I lean towards Cam Newton because of that fact of will he be back again?
Well,
now granted, next year he'll have Kelvin Benjamin back, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
Cam Newton
makes the team that much better. But
he's so good and he's got so much ability.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he stays healthy for his career.
Right.
And I kind of worry because he's a big guy and he thinks he's Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell got beat into the ground by the time his career was over. Those guys
the difference is, from a running back standpoint, they try and get every extra yard possible. Cam Newton goes 3 yards and dives down. If
he dives forward, though.
Yeah. I know, but
he throws his body in there like McMahon used to do.
He doesn't get that upright hit, which is what like Eddie Lacy does and Earl Campbell does. They stay upright and just get pounded.
There's such
he goes
big
into the
targets,
line, and if there's really no opening, he just dives forward and gets 5 yards, and then now it's second and short.
I don't know. I expect Cam Newton to have no turnovers, run for 150 yards, get the MVP, and Carolina win by 17.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I think will happen. Yeah, the over/under. I don't know. I just after watching Peyton and all that, and I know he got a couple of touchdown passes against New England, but to be honest with you, I just think the guy's arm is cashed. You're going to make him throw, and if they get if Carolina gets the lead early, this game could be ugly.
It could be over.
This game could be ugly. How many picks did Carson Palmer throw?
Well, they had 7 turnovers. I think he
Yeah,
had 5
I mean,
picks.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like,
Yeah, I mean,
and then
they just piled it on in that
Carson
game.
Palmer was having a pretty good year.
Yeah.
You know, I could see that happening to Peyton. I could see Brock Osweiler in the second quarter if this game gets out of hand.
Yeah.
And that would be so sad to see Peyton, because I really like him.
Oh, I do too.
And to see him go out like
I think
that,
it would be sad. Well, it would be sad on both fronts. One, if they just pulled him, or 2, if he got hurt, and then they had to pull him.
He'd be better off getting hurt. It's better to leave on your shield than, hey, did you ever see Everybody's All-American?
Mm-hmm.
That was actually based on Rob Lytle. And they actually used footage. Remember Rob Lytle from Michigan?
Right.
Where the guy, he fumbles, and then the coach is like, hey, take a seat. And he's benched, and he just kicks his helmet. I don't want to see that happen to Peyton.
No, I don't either.
He's better off blowing something out and then getting carried off.
Even just
with
getting
a thumbs up
or whatever.
Yeah. The concussion thing is bad now.
Getting hit hard. Right.
I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I'm hoping it's a good game, but I agree with you. The potential of Carolina blowing out Denver is way greater than the potential of Denver blowing out Carolina.
I see no hope of Denver blowing out Carolina.
No,
Carolina lost one game, and they almost won it.
Yeah.
They lost Atlanta.
Yeah, at Atlanta.
Atlanta.
They shouldn't have lost that game.
Yeah.
But the chances of Carolina getting blown out are just so preposterous. It's
the only way
unless they turn the ball over 7 times.
The only thing I see for Denver to win is they need their safeties to play, and they need to hit as hard as they hit New England.
Yes.
And if they do that, you may find the ball on the ground.
Right.
Jonathan Stewart, you can get him. You can get the ball loose from him. You can get the ball loose from Newton if you hit him at the right time. You can get the ball out of Ginn's hands. I mean, literally
all the time.
All the time. And that's the other thing is, when it comes to special teams, I mean, you can't kick it to that guy.
No.
You know what I mean? I mean, you have to just, kick it out of the end zone, which McManus can do. I don't know about the punts. It used to be like you have no excuse for allowing a punt return when all you got to do is kick it toward the sideline.
Right.
Honestly. You know what I mean?
They did that a couple times with Edelman, though, and he ran up the sideline. They still gave up a 30-yard punt return.
Yeah. I'm talking about, I remember games where there weren't punt returns because you're kicking it out of bounds.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
well, when Baltimore won the Super Bowl, they punt the ball right down the middle, and Jones or whatever the guy's name was just runs right up the middle, and 85-yard touch.
That's really
return.
not supposed to happen.
No.
But the kicking game, I don't even understand what these guys are doing anymore.
Remember when they used to be able to pin the ball out of bounds?
Yeah, coffin corner
all the time.
All the time. That's all they ever did.
Nobody does it anymore.
I don't understand that at all.
It makes no sense.
It's. And then the most dangerous things are returns, kickoff returns, punt returns. Those are the heaviest collisions. So, you want safety, and for your players, and you're not that deep. You're already down 2 safeties, and now your special teams guys are going to have to play defense. Don't take the chance.
Yeah,
don't let that guy beat you. At least don't let him beat you on a kickoff return.
Right.
My God, I don't know. Second-generation punters. I mean, seriously?
All right, go Forest
Cats. Is that what
Cats.
we've come to? Forest Cats. Mid-Atlantic Forest Cats. Okay, thanks, everybody, for listening. Sorry about the football at the end. At least it wasn't baseball. And we'll try to get Jeff Smith next week. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.